Welcome to another episode of the Leveling Up podcast. I'm here with Boye Brogeland, coming in from Norway. Is that where you are?
Yeah, Flekkefjord, Norway.
Well, glad to have you with us.
Nice to be here. Thank you.
So let's jump right into it. What do you think differentiates the run of the mill expert player from a world class player? Someone who's in contention for the Vanderbilt, the Bermuda Bowl. How much of it is bridge skill? How much of it is coming to the table ready to play?
I think the psychological side of it has a lot to do. I think many people have asked me, like, Boye, why, how come you sort of play professional stuff? You're not that good. Like, no, I say a lot of people are talented enough to play, talented enough to become professional players. But it's something about seizing the opportunity when you have it. And I would say sort of go all in and say, okay, this is what I want to do. I think really the willingness sort of to give everything to become really, really good at bridge. I think that's, yeah, the competitiveness, I think, in many ways are more important than the bridge skills.
So you consider yourself a very competitive person?
Yeah, I've always been very competitive. Whatever I did, when I was younger, I played soccer, and I always sort of dreamt about becoming like really good in something. And in soccer, I could just tell that I could never really. I loved it. I played a lot. That was all I did when I was a kid. But I realized with bridge that I could really. I was so keen when I started studying. I chose the place to study really to try and become as good a bridge player as I could. So that was more important when I chose my studies than really what I was studying. And the way it turned out was I did a lot more bridge studies than other studies.
So what did that bridge study part of your life look like?
I come from a very small town. Like there's like just 2,000 people where I grew up. Just when I was 19, I moved to the second largest city in Norway, Bergen, to do my economics, business and administration study. I knew that they had a very good sort of bridge environment. Like a lot of young people played there. And there were some people like coming from nearby where I grew up that had already studied there and said that it's a very good place to be for a bridge player. So I was very like lucky in that way too, that I was introduced to some of the best players in Bergen at that point from people that I knew back home. So I was just sort of, I went, they said, oh, there's coming this guy from Moy, which is my hometown, and he's a good bridge player. So I actually got to play with some of the best players in Bergen just right when I was 19 years old.
Did you read a lot of bridge books as a kid?
Not really. I read maybe a few bridge magazines, and when I really got into bridge, like when I said my mentor showed me like the encyclopedia of bridge. So I go to so every night I was actually studying card combination, like suit combinations. So before going to bed every night, I just said, okay, how do I treat this suit combination? And I think actually maybe that when I was like 14, 15, 16 years old, I was better at suit combination than I am today because I just sort of I studied every night. I remember reading Zia Mahmood's article like Roll Over Houdini. I'm not sure if you know that
No.
article, but it's when you if your opponents don't cover an honor, you play an honor and they don't cover, they don't have it sort of because honor and honor is like a very sort of normal way of playing. So if they don't follow honor, they actually don't have it. So instead of playing sort of the percentage line in a vacuum, you could say, okay, he won't have that card because he would have covered. So you play a jack from dummy and you have ace, king, 10, 9 in your hand, fifth in your hand, and he plays low. You say, oh, it's very likely he would cover with the queen. So that was C's article. So it's just to sort of realizing the more of the psychology part of the game. Also, I thought was just okay. That's something he knows something about the game that I never seen or never sort of So that was so there's some sort of things I picked up, but I was not a big reader in bridge books, but I picked up stuff. Yeah.
When did you realize, okay, I'm going to be a professional? Like, this is what my life is going to be?
Like my grandmother who taught me the game, together with my grandfather, she always told me that boys, she said, you have to focus on your studies because you can never make a living from bridge. It's just not the way it's a hobby. So, but when I was 17 years old in 1990, I played in one of these junior events, the Norwegian Junior Championships. And I had read about Helgemo and some of these other sort of well-known juniors. And in that tournament, I played with a local guy. In that tournament, I was 17 years old, and we beat all of them. all the people that I knew, we beat, like Helgemo and all these people. We beat them. We came second, and we beaten about of another pair that I really hadn't heard that much about. But for me, I realized, okay, I'm 17 years old. I beat these players that I just read about, and they're supposedly one of the best players in the world, like junior players. So I thought, okay, I'll give it a shot. So when I then moved to Bergen, and I said, okay, let's see how good I can get. And then I got to play for the juniors, and then was 23. I played in Rhodes, my first sort of international, big national event in 1996. I had like a few sort of smaller gigs in the US, but my first sort of bigger deal I got when I started playing in Rita Sugar's team in 2001 with Tony Forrester. So at that point, I was 28 years old, and I was great. They just sort of they handed me an envelope with cash, and I just that was fine with me.
Yeah.
So that's how it started. So playing with Tony Forrester for a while and in Rita Sugar's team, and yeah. So since 2001, I played sort of all major events in the USA.
How much better do you think you are today than you were at 25?
I think actually at 25, I knew maybe sort of stuff. I was sort of a winning player in many ways that I maybe at this point I'm not sure I get better. But of course, the experience in bridge is a big deal, and so I know more about the game in many because I've expanded the knowledge of the game. But I think what I knew when I was 25, and maybe I knew better at that point than I do today.
What do you do between big tournaments to keep yourself sharp?
And my problem has always been the time to find the time for bridge because I'm running a bridge magazine for more than 25 years, and that's a lot of work. I have a son that's soon to be 20, a daughter that's now 10. So I've been married, for more than 20 years. So it's all these things. Sort of, it's difficult to find time. Maybe this year I would travel 150 days with bridge. So to find time for everything is just difficult. So what I've done, I would say, in many ways, is to use the competitions also as practice. And this I remember very well when we started playing in the Norwegian Open team. When you went out to dinners after the game, you went through every hand. We had the hand records with us, every hand we went through. And it wasn't like just what happened, what was the contract, what was the result. No, what card did you play? Did you play the deuce or did you play the seven there? Did you give a count signal or attitude or suit preference? Like so it was dissecting sort of every card we played that day. And for me, I always loved the game so much that for me this was just great. Like I love that to go to a tournament, now to go to dinner and just go through every hand and listen what the other people did on the hand and just understanding the way they're thinking about bridge. For me, that's been very, very helpful over the years.
Do you do anything in the weeks leading up to a big tournament to get ready?
I would say not really. What I have to do is to finish one of my bridge magazine. That's basically what I do. So bridge. So I always bring my system, the system file, and I read that on the plane over to the US or the plane over to some of the other major tournaments. That's always I always do that because that always gives me sort of the confidence that I still remember. Because so to feel that confidence, okay, at least I know my system. And I've done this so many times. I know when I get in the zone, I know I can play my game. Every time I go to a major event, I'm able sort of to get my head right and elevate my game and be sort of ready to go.
What do your system notes look like? How many pages are they?
150 pages, but I would say we written out a lot more sequences than we had to. So we could have written down just principles in many ways, but on the other hand, it's easier when you look at all the sequences, sequence by sequence. It's almost more sort of you feel more secure in my view when you really see it black and white. This is it, every bit. Like okay, this is what it means. I know it, but just to repeat those things to me, I find that I feel more secure that I know the system. So I always start on page one. So I thought I normally I reach maybe page 90 and the plane ride is over and then the next day I have to read the next 60 pages. So but that's so I normally go like 2 days. I used to go just come in the day before when I went to nationals, but the last few years I come in 2 days before. So I have that extra day just to study my notes and just feel fresher when I.
And do you have a cheat sheet or something of like, these are the things we changed recently, or I forgot this, or, if I'm going to review the notes in 10 minutes, this is what I need to look at?
We should have done should have been much better on that sort of thing. I have sort of the last electronic file and I have my own written file. So basically what we do is when I meet with with Christian Bakke, who's now my regular partner, and then try and go through the what I have not put into the like the electronic file. There's a little bit of the time thing also. I said it's to find time to just to really do the system notes properly. Sometimes before sort of major championships, I might have an update, but there's not more than sort of maybe maximum 2-3 updates during a year. But I have it all written down, sort of. So at least I know when I read through my file, I know what we're supposed to do.
Do you use qubits or anything to keep working on system and bidding?
Very little. My practice in many ways been the tournaments that I play, but you have a lot of time actually to, if you use the tournaments as also like a learning ground. It's been very helpful for me to try and find the time for it, because I cannot add up those 150 days and put on an extra 50 to practice, for example. I just don't have time.
So, how do you make sure that the time at a tournament is time that you're learning? Do you spend a lot of time after the hands going over them?
Yeah, I would say going over them, but you doing it together. So it's been I've always been sort of used to that. It's everybody knows me for the guy that always have the hand records. So every time I go out for dinner, I always have the hand records. We go through things that we sort of come up that was interesting, because a lot of things when you play together for a long time, you know what, but it's just sort of the special things, the extra things that you have to sort of look up and just sort of to decide what will we do next time.
If you have a disagreement or you're just not sure what was right, do you have people that you go to, like people who are mentors today?
No, I would say this is I also normally we just know what, based on how we play, based on what's written, we basically know what's sort of right, and it won't help to ask someone else because they might not be of the same sort of opinion. They don't have the same experience with how we play. So I basically know if I have done it correctly according to the system, or if I screwed up in a way. And same for my partner. The real blunders in a way, where you sort of forgotten the system, or you just make some sort of silly mistake on defense that you don't, is normally just, I would say, focus, the loss of focus. If you and this goes for almost all top players. If you present them with a problem after the hand, or sort of after the game, before the game, they will almost always solve it, because you know there's a problem. But when you sit at the table, you don't know when the problems appear. So you have to be sort of focused to say that the problem can appear at any moment, which I think is a big thing. You make a lot of decisions at bridge. It's not just like one major investment you have to do. You have to like make lots of small investments all the time, and you don't know when the big one suddenly is there. So you just have to try and make as many good choices. So you do right, not just on the small ones, but also when the big ones appear, that you actually do right, because you almost do right all the time in these. Also the things that don't count in a way, because a lot of things in bridge you just sort of to cater for, like a bad break. Normally you don't have to cater for it, because it just happens like 5% of the time. So normally you don't have to cater for it, but when it comes up, when it actually happens, you have to be there. And this is the thing: if you present this as a problem to people, they say, "Of course, it's breaking badly." You know it, but it's to be there at the table when it happens. And I think that's a big thing: the psychology of the game, the thing to be at your best when you sit at the table. For me, and I would say for many top players, I think that's sort of the key to really be the best version of yourself when you sit at the bridge table.
So, how do you develop that skill? Are you better at that now than you were at 25 or
Yeah,
17? And
yeah.
what have you done, do you think?
I think I just done it so many times that I just feel I feel confident, just that I try to do sort of the same stuff over and over and over again, just to get in the zone. I always bring a Coke when I play. It's like I have one water and one Coke when I sit there. I always come late. So I always wear the same clothes, just like my sort of my armor. Feel like it's just to get that, you just the mental thing of it, just to feel like you're in a battle, and I'm going to give everything in this battle. We'll see, win or lose, who knows, but I'm confident that I'll give it my best, and yeah, stay positive. Like, just have the positive mindset always. Don't get down on yourself. All these things, which is so difficult. This is what they say with Bob Hammond. That's one of his strengths. That he doesn't matter, like whatever bad beat hit him or whatever bad things happen, he could still the next hand he would be laser focused. So these things are not easy, but the more you do it, the more you get into the zone, the more sort of sure you are that you will actually be able to do it. I think that's helped me a lot over the years, that I feel good, and I'm sitting down at the table. It doesn't matter if it's the Bermuda Bowl final or if it's just a club game. When I sit down, I'm ready to go.
So, after you have a bad result, What's going through your mind to try to let it go?
Trying to forget it in a way. Trying to sort of, okay, it happened. There's no way you can go back and fix that. You can only go forward and hopefully do enough good things that it will actually be fixed, that it will be that it won't count for winning or losing. Yeah, for losing the match. So I remember one hand very well. That was in 2008, and I played with Espen Lindquist, who we had just played for 3 4 months, and he was 24, and I was, yeah, almost 10 years older, and I had played a few championships, and we just started playing, and we were leading or second, like going into the last match against we played against Denmark, and going into that last and going yeah, we were leading, and this was the European Championships, and we had, like, fairly early in the match, we had a hand that I could see that we could 7 clubs would be better even on a 4-2 fit, and if it was 4-3 or 4-4, it would definitely be better. But even 4-2 fit would be better than a 5-4 fit in a major, because you had the extra rough with sort of the possibly double. So it was a long sort of sequence, and I bid 7 clubs. This was it's great. Like the last match of the European Championship, you're bidding 7 clubs in a possible 4-2 or 4-3 break. It's like this is great. But then he decided to remove it because it's just, yeah, maybe just a weird sequence or whatever. And it feels like, okay, we have a nine card major fit, and we agreed on that suit. This suit was just mentioned sort of for the first time in the 7 level. So it's and that then went. So we went down in 7 with 7 hearts and 7 spades, and 7 clubs would have made. I just walked up. It just took us, like, I gave him a glass of water, and I took a glass of water and said, "Okay, let's just play. Like, just, yeah, don't be bothered." And then we played really really well without doubling them in part scores. And we took them off, and it was just, and we won the match by that. I think it was a 30 scale, and we won the match 24-6 in the 30 scale, and we won the European Championships 2008. So that's like one of the, like, really great memories of that sort of the coming back from a bad result, that it don't affect you. Just move on. If you're in the right frame of mind, you're able to do that. But if you're not in the right frame of mind, it's very difficult to do that. The worst thing you can do is to get down on yourself, get down on your partner. That's just a bad feeling. It does not elevate your game at all. So to be able to do that, to try and sort of just to be in your zone, and don't take it out on your partner, and don't take it out on yourself.
Let's say you're in the Vanderbilt and it's the round of 32 and you get a terrible draw. You draw the number 1 seed. It's
Mm.
Nickel or it's
Mm.
Zimmerman or whatever. What's your mindset? What are you telling yourself going into that match?
It's just a bigger challenge. I love that. I love coming in the underdog. That's just the best feeling. So for me, at least, I've always sort of been rooting for the underdogs, and I feel really, it's almost hardly ever I feel as good as being down 40 going into the last set. Like, it's just that's where I really feel now. You just have to do it. It might just be 1% chance, but I want to be that 1%. I want to be there. I just don't want to lose out with 10 imps when we actually had the chance to beat them that 1% of the time. So it's just something about getting the mindset right. I love playing against the best players. That's where I really feel that, okay, this is the most fun, and yeah, I don't get afraid. It just, I would say, just elevate. It just, what more could I wish for than sort of to play against the best players in the world, and hopefully beat them. Because I've been around long enough to know that some days it's my day, and if I play my game, and the team play its game, and I play my game together with my partner, it will be good enough to beat them. So I'm not afraid to lose. I think that's just, to be afraid to lose is just sort of, yeah, to being timid, and you have to play your game. I think that's also one of my, I would say, my big things. So to be able to play your game and stick to it, win or lose, you stick to your game. This is the game that you master. It might be it might not be sort of what other people would play, because they master sort of a different game. If you play like I do, you play aggressively, you take chances, you hope that in the long run it will sort of add up.
How would you describe your game? You just said aggressive. Do you have like a philosophy?
I play I would say, I always play like a lot of gut feel. It's like to play what I feel. Not always been been right. I've been going down. I remember in the Bermuda Bowl final in 2001, we played against the USA in Paris, and I had, like, 9 top tricks in 3-0 trumps. But it was so unlikely. Yeah, I played against Rose Meltzer and Kyle Larson. It was so unlikely that it has been so many things that, so I played for the over trick, and I went down. And of course, people then asked me, like, how can you do this? Like, this is not it's not bridge to play. Yeah, so this is my way. That's sort of that's what I feel bridge is most fun. That's when I feel like the shivers in a way when I play that way. That's bridge to me. And then again in 2007 when we won the Bermuda Bowl, again we played against the USA in the final. This was against Zia and Rosenberg. And I remember I had a very similar hand that I was in 3-0 trumps, and it was like in the end there I was thinking back to 2001 when I went down, and I said no, I'll hook it for the 10th trick rather than just play safe, and the hook worked, and we became world champions. So it's a little bit that's what really good when you can play your own way. It's not like other people play. It's not like play it safe or anything. It's just I'm not sure if you heard about my book At the Edge.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so that's you. If you read that, you'll see sort of my philosophy. You'll see some of the hands that just you might see as just ridiculous. How can he be doing these things? It doesn't make sense. But it's my game. It's why I love the game so much. If I was having to play other people's game, I wouldn't love bridge as much as I do.
So if you have a suit combination, you studied them as a kid, you know the book says to do this, but my gut says,
yeah, I almost always go. Not that it's right to go with my guts, but it's just not going with my guts. Just being defensive, being negatively thinking that no, it's not my way of playing. I
it's
go
just
with
more
my gut
fun.
feel. It's more fun. It's the way I
Yeah.
play.
Yeah.
So I do that, and I say it's been good and bad boards, but it's been more fun. It's been bridge at the edge every.
I have that philosophy when I'm like, do I play to pin the 10 or whatever?
Yeah,
Pin the 10 is so much more fun, right? That's what you got to do.
Well, that's what you live for, sort of. It might be. That's what I play bridge for. You really to do something maybe that other people don't do. It's a different way of thinking. So of course, I don't want to overdo it in a way. But if, as you say, if I had a chance between some sexy play and some just down the middle play, I always go for the sexy.
Yeah. What is your daily routine at a big tournament? Let's say the Nationals, the U.S. Nationals, the 10 o'clock start. Yeah. What does your day look like?
And I normally, when we play team events, I normally like to sit out the first session and then play 3 in a row. So if I play a pair game, of course, I have to get up in the morning and play. And it's just, try to sleep well, get up, I have a breakfast. Yeah, I sometimes listen to some music just to sort of get in the mode. If I listen to music and I try to.
What kind of music?
It's just things that sort of, it can be just very quiet songs in a way, but just get my mind right. I just feel positive, feel like on the right side of things. It's not heavy metal or anything. No, that's not for me. But it's just give me a good feeling. Like it could be music that just get me, in a nice sort of grateful, positive attitude.
Do you drink at all at a big tournament?
I don't like to drink. I drink a lot of Coke. That I have to say. I always bring a Coke to every session I play. I drink Coke in the evening. So that's sort of my sort of bad habit in a way, I would say, to drink. But that's sort of also, as I say, the security of this is what I've done, this is what I've been successful with doing in the past. So why change? Why change sort of winning?
You're a little superstitious.
So I'm not sure everybody is so open about it, but I'm very open. I'm very superstitious when it comes to these things. I'm not that superstitious in a way. I just don't want to change sort of winning strategy. I don't want to come out of the zone that I know that's working for me. So I just try to do the same thing. So I drink very little.
Exercise.
I don't do enough about that. I don't know. Walking from my room to somewhere is just the only exercise I do. My bridge stamina, I would say, is really good. Really, really good. So I don't know. It's, as I say, I'm always afraid when it comes to the tipping point where it's all downhill sort of. But I would say up to now it's been okay, even if I'm doing way too little exercise compared to what I would say what's recommended.
Do you do any in the off season? When you're not at a tournament?
A little bit, not much. I play a little bit of squash sometimes, a little bit of paddle tennis. I used to play soccer also. Like I did more of that, say 10 years ago, 5 years ago than I do now. So I should do more of that. You're definitely not losing anything by doing more exercise for sure.
So someone like me who is trying to get better and has a limited amount of time and is deciding how much of that time to spend on increasing bridge knowledge, studying suit combinations and whatever else that might be, and working on whatever the mental stuff is. How would you split that?
Yeah, it's, I would say, number one, I would say partnership. That to me, I would say, find a really good partner, work on the partnership. That to me, I think is it's the way to get good fast. To get good fast by your own, not so easy. You can get better, but it's like it's hard to sort of use that extra knowledge, as you say, without doing it together with a partner. Find a partner, build a partnership, have a really system file, whatever you choose to do, if it's small or big, whatever, but you know it. You know it by heart. And then to work on the mental part of it, I think, together with your partner. Bridge is a partnership game. So I would say that to become good sort of quickly, it's much easier to get sort of quick results if you can do it together with your partner.
What do you do when you see your partner struggling a little bit? That they're a little down, they just misplayed a hand. You can just
Yeah.
tell they need a pick me up.
Mm. Yeah, I think that's very individual. Which partner which partner you play with. Some people might need oh yeah, that's yeah, move on something, and I guess some partner just need you not to be on their be on their back in a way. So, yeah, so I would say it's very individual how you react to it. For myself, if I play badly in a contract, I would say it's nice if we can just move on. Hopefully that your partner will be able to work it out himself without sort of you just adding on to his problems. So, but some, as I said, as I mentioned with the other things in back in 2008, that was just like a one off in a way that I went up because this was so like the last match. It was a grand slam. I just went up and took a glass of water and gave a glass of water to my partner. Just say like, don't worry. Let's just like it all comes about the situation. Maybe it comes with who you play with. Different things work for different people, but it's a little bit about knowing your partner, and also hopefully your partner knowing you.
Are there certain like classifications of mistakes that you think someone at my level makes that someone at your level doesn't?
What's the difference between a really top player and a good player that sort of maybe feels that they should be a top player? Is the consistency. And I think this is what, because if everybody can sort of make a double squeeze or like take some finesses, and like when a bridge player is on the top of his game or her game, on that day you can beat everybody. But it's the consistency that might be lacking. That you might sort of beat me, on Wednesday and Saturday, but I normally beat you the other days in the week because I'm more consistent. Not that I know so much. If someone gave us a hand, you probably solve it as well as I would do. But the consistency is just said all the small decisions that people don't see, because you don't see all the small decisions that's taken. Might just look into the big one, you understand, but all the small ones that you sort of do every hand, and not all of them show up because it only shows up like in 5% of the time or 2% of the time. So, but all these adds up. This is the thing. So you can see the big boards, the big decisions, but you don't always sort of grasp all the sort of small things, all the negative conclusions that's they've been making, that the top players make all the time, and those things add up. So I would say it's the consistency that you really need to work on. And I can see that a little bit with my son. He's now soon to be 20. He's a really good player. He understands now a lot of bridge, but he lacks the consistency. He said when he played a tournament with me now back in like almost like half a year ago, and he was exhausted after the tournament. He was so exhausted because he's used to sort of playing more of like a natural flowing games, just easy. But when I play, every card counts. It's like every card I play means something. You need to look at the card and you need to understand what the card means, and you need sort of to use that information. So he just says that he was just so exhausted of that event. He played very well, and I played we won the event, but I was sort of surprised to hear afterwards, like he's 20 years old, and I'm more than 50, and he was totally exhausted playing with me. He just has to sort of be so much more awake and so much more sort of focused than he's used to.
How about spot cards? Remembering spot cards. I think like this is one of the things where concentration and focus manifests itself. That you get to trick 12 and you're like, all right, I have the 5. There's one out there. Is it the 6 or the 4?
Mm.
Why are the top players so much better at that? What can I do to get better?
Yeah, I think because they started much earlier thinking about these things. When I was young, I said again with my mentor, he drove me home and we sat in his car and went sort of through all the hands. And he remembered, there were no hand records. He remembered all the hands. I said, how the heck can he be remembering all the hands? It's incredible. I will never be able to do that. It's just impossible. So, but I think that that way of thinking from the start, that you really sort of focus on the, as you say, the spot cards from when you were young. Little by little, it just becomes, you just see the pattern in much better way. It's never too late to start, but I don't think you can expect the same sort of results that if you started by this sort of when you very first you started playing bridge, this would like looking at the spot cards was a big thing. But I did that from I was, as I said, from I was 14 years old. Try and visualize. And if you can do that over and over and over again, it becomes a pattern for you and you don't have to think about it. So I don't, and when you think it's really necessary, you sort of you spot the situation. Aha, now I have to be really aware about the spot cards. But this doesn't come automatically in a way. It comes because you've done it so many times that you recognize the situation. I think that's what I say with my son, that it's so hard for him that he's not used to that yet. He's been used to playing it in a different way where his focus is differently. But I've always been used to playing it sort of that way, where the spot card means something. Always sort of focus on the spot cards, giving correct signals, these sort of things. It's just very, very helpful when you can start these things early and it becomes into a pattern, and it's just a part of your game.
Do you see the cards in your mind? Like how do you picture it when you're visualizing? What are you seeing?
I think I just see it sort of maybe like as a picture or like a photo sort of. I normally I would say afterwards to say, okay, this is the hand I had, this is what dummy had, almost down to the small spot card. So I just sort of look at it as a picture, and I can see that some of the things are just sort of more important than others. That suit, I really need to focus on the spot card because that could become an issue. But the other suits are not that important. And I think that's also a big thing. I think when you compare like the top players to maybe the ones that just below them, are the thing to be able to focus on the right things. When I see a hand, I don't need to focus on that many things. I know that I just have one problem on this hand. If I'm on defense, there's only one card that will come out of declarer's hand that will give me a problem. A lot of time, I can just tell you that's the way it is. A lot of the times, you just know you exactly what card you will play based on experience. But if that card comes out, should I cover? Should I not cover? Should I take the trick and do something? What should I do? I mean, I always try and visualize, if that card comes, what would I do? So you have to visualize that card before it comes, because if you have to start thinking when it comes, it's too late.
Is that something you think about as declarer? Like, what's the card that's going to give them trouble?
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. To play, it can be sort of any card that, and this is also something I've done from when I was very young, to play like a 10 and play like a 9 and just to see sort of their reaction. So that's what I like sort of with at the table feel that I like, that I'm a little bit afraid of this with, that I don't like so much to play on a computer, because I don't, it's not as fun. It's not the game I was used to playing sort of from the start, to get that sort of feeling.
When you're not quite on your top game, what goes first? Like what's the indicator to you
My
confidence? How does that manifest?
because I can feel it. It's so easy for me to feel. So very often I would say maybe the first match in the tournament. So because as I said, I'm always afraid of the day that I can feel I'm not on the top of my game anymore. That's always sort of my big frightening moment. That like now it's over, boy. This is it. So I always like, so with the first, I'm maybe a little bit nervous because of that. That just maybe the first match you play in a tournament, you feel, is I still sort of, do I still have my game? I'm still on top of my game. Do I still sort of able to play my thing? And very often, then, if I can just get through that match, I restore my confidence. And when your confidence go, you cannot play your game anymore, or at least I cannot play my game anymore. If my confidence go, it's I'm sort of starting playing other people's game, because my game is sort of having confidence and daring to be great.
You said you're really competitive. Would you say you're motivated more by The love of winning or hating to lose?
Both. I would say, I thought you were going to say, are you more motivated by winning or about the money? And I would say winning, 100%. Like money for me when it comes to bridge has just been an added bonus. I never treated bridge as work really. It's always been my passion.
So, yeah, you're in the finals of the Bermuda Bowl. You have a big comeback victory. How long are like you living on that? How long are you
I'm on
excited
such a
about
high
it?
for well, until the next tournament. I was
Yeah.
that could bring you down again. But you won't win everything. You could have a bad day. Your partner could have a bad day. Teammates could have a bad day. Don't get down on yourself because of that. So I don't worry about losing as long as I played my game. I've done my job. I loved every bit of it. It's like I'm fine. There's no shame in losing, but there's a shame in sort of not playing the game that you know you should play. That's for me. It's the worst. If I can't play my game, and it's also that's the reason why we're losing. That's sort of the worst moment for me. I'm not worried about losing by an imp. If I played my game, that's fine.
Do you ever have partners, teammates, clients, whatever, who you feel like I can't play my game? They're going to give me a hard time. Like I went down in a cold 3-0 trump because I went with my gut.
Yeah,
And some people are more understanding of that than others.
I've been very very lucky, both with my all my partners and with all my I would say all my teammates, all my clients. That I feel they always backed me. I never felt that I couldn't play my game. I think that over the years, when I sort of proven myself and they can see that my game works as well as the Helge Mohelnes game, for example, is just a different way of playing. I feel that I can more play my game and also getting more sort of respect for the way that I play because people they can see the results also.
You describe the difference between your game and a Helge Mohelnes.
Their logic to the game is so incredible that they understand the game so well. So they can just sort of play down the middle, they can play with the odds, and they'll just outplay like other top players. While I'm more of a say a little bit more of sort of the gut feel player, like take a risk and just risk and reward. What do you think? And you could look stupid from time to time. They very rarely look stupid. They very rarely look stupid because they sort of they play the percentages, and sometimes they might be unlucky with percentages. But that's not the game that sort of I really feel good about playing. It's not because I think that it's hard to beat someone that's so good at that kind of game. You can't really beat them on their game. You have to create your own game to be able to beat the best players on that way of playing. You have to play a different game because they at the same time they cannot play my game in many ways because it's not familiar with them. They feel too uncomfortable. I would think playing that sort of more gut feel game.
So to compare it to Top Gun, they're like Iceman and you're Maverick.
Could be.
All right. Well, that's a great place to end. Thank you so much, Boya. This has been great, and I'll see you soon.